Hey guys, so a YouTuber called Repzion recently made a video about veganism and that vegan teacher. I watched it and thought that there were a few things probably worth commenting on, so here we are.
If you're a vegan, I have a genuine question. So a lot of vegan stuff, products, foods, non-animal products, a lot of them contain soy and nuts. And when it comes to veganism, somebody who is allergic to, let's say, soy and nuts, okay? People having two different allergies, that's a real thing. But let's say like you're deathly ill of nuts. How then are you gonna consume and get protein in your body? Because believe it or not, your body needs protein, right? Okay, your body needs protein. I'm not a medical professional, but I know for a fact your body needs protein, and you can get protein from vegan products, absolutely. But what if your body is allergic to one of the main ingredients of the majority of vegan products, which is nuts? What do you do then? How do you solve a problem of needing protein where your body may not be suitable to ingest certain products that you may have allergic reactions to or be deathly ill to? This idea, this is how I view it, this black and white extremism, this Miltonism, that you have to be vegan, and if you're not vegan, you cannot and you will never care about animals, is simply not true. I love my cat, I love my dog, but in another part of the world, they consume these pets. That doesn't make it okay, trust me. I'm all against people eating cats and dogs.
I think some people can find going vegan to be hard, and how hard it will be is going to vary from person to person. And if you have certain allergies, then sure, maybe you will find it harder. But you can absolutely maintain a healthy vegan diet without eating nuts or soy. And being vegan is now easier than ever, and is going to get even easier over time. You can get protein from beans, legumes, seitan, plant-based protein shakes made from pea protein or rice protein. A lot of the vegan alternative products do contain soy, but many of them don't. My favourite mock meat is the Beyond Burger, which doesn't contain any soy or gluten or nuts. If you're worried about whether your diet contains all the nutrition you need to be healthy, then you can track your nutrition using Chronometer, which is completely free. Look, I agree that certain people are going to find being vegan more challenging than others, but we also need to consider the seriousness of animal suffering. And when we look at what is happening to these animals, the torturous, confined conditions that we're keeping them in, the mutilations, often without anesthesia, the ways in which they die, which for pigs can involve screaming in pain in a gas chamber, for chickens can involve being boiled alive, and for fish can involve suffocating to death. Well, I think it's clear that their misery greatly outweighs the day-to-day challenges of being vegan. Repzion, you said that you disagree with the killing of dogs in other cultures. So it seems that when it comes to dogs, you understand that while there are many differences between you and them, there are also many similarities, and one of those similarities is that you share the capacity to suffer. If you witness a dog suffering, you're able to empathise and ask yourself, what if it was me? Well, farmed animals also share the capacity to suffer, and by purchasing products like chicken, fish, and eggs, you're causing more farmed animals to suffer in ways that, if done to a dog, would quite rightly lead to moral outrage from people like you. In regards to the black and white thinking you mentioned, I think you have a point. While I'm vegan and I advocate for veganism, I do see things on a moral continuum. So I see an ethical distinction between someone eating a lot of meat and someone eating a very small amount of meat. And I think it's good when non-vegans promote institutional change, either directly or by donating to effective charities, regardless of their own individual consumption behaviours.
In no way am I saying don't go vegan, because again, if you want to go vegan, that's your personal choice. I will support you as long as you're not hurting anybody personally. I don't really care what you do, what you ingest,
It seems different people draw different lines for what is a personal choice and what is an ethical decision. If, as you suggest, the line is whether you're hurting someone else, that a choice is a personal one unless it has a victim, then the question is, who counts as a victim? Now, it's important to note that this isn't about equating animals and humans morally. Most vegans will, if they have to choose, prioritise a human over some other animal. And even vegans like that vegan teacher won't judge meat eaters in the same way they would judge someone who killed a human. But even if you prioritise human life over animal life, like most people do, surely you must realise that there are victims involved in this decision. This is not some mundane diet choice without moral implications. Choosing to cause suffering to a pig, a chicken, or a fish is as much as a personal choice as choosing to cause suffering to your pet dog or cat. It isn't one. Repzion, I agree with you. Do what you want with your life. as long as you are not hurting anyone else.
If you skim around on the Vegan Teacher's channel, you're going to find that she uses the term veganphobic a lot in her video titles. And I'm going to just say it clear out. I'm not veganphobic, and I think this is a horrendous term to use because the majority of people are not afraid of veganism. I know that I'm not.
I don't think that by veganphobic, that vegan teacher is referring to people who are scared of veganism, just as the term homophobic doesn't refer to people being scared of gay people, but rather a dislike or prejudice against them. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that prejudice against vegans is what that vegan teacher is talking about. I somehow doubt that she is trying to raise awareness of all the poor people who have a phobia of veganism. I'm vegan!
If, let's say, people don't know what happens to the animals, it hasn't really clicked in their heads yet what's going on, and they're kind of innocent. You know, they just really don't believe what's going on in these factory farms, where they honestly think it happens in other countries and not where they are. Then you kind of have to forgive them because they just don't know better. But let's say you've explained to somebody in your life several times about what's going on, and you've asked them to watch the documentaries, and they just point blank refuse, or just are committing themselves to willful ignorance. Can you be friends with them? Well, how would you feel if you knew that one of your best friends or a family member was paying people to hurt cats? Was your neighbor was eating cats, or your cousin was eating cats, or somebody else that's really close to you in your life, a really good friend, was eating dogs, and you explained to them that this causes a lot of suffering and pain, and that it also hurts you just to know that it goes on because you're an animal rights activist. It's pretty hard to keep respecting people like that, because they have a choice and they're choosing to be cruel on purpose. So my answer is no. I can't be friends with people like that.
Wow. Okay then, you know? You can't be friends with non-vegans. That's really actually sad. You're so strung up on an ideology or on activism that you cannot be friends with somebody who thinks differently than you, or even lives a lifestyle that maybe doesn't reflect exactly what you believe in. And maybe this is just a silly example, but I have friends who are really into poly relationships. I'm not about that life. I'm into monogamy, right? And I know this is different because we're not talking about animals here, but just hear me out. Poly relationships, open relationships, and then you have monogamy. I'm monogamous, and a lot of people that I know are into open poly relationships. Can I not be friends with somebody because they live a different lifestyle, or they're okay with that, or like, this blows my mind.
Put simply, choosing to be polyamorous doesn't involve a victim, while causing animals to be farmed and killed does. As you said, do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone else. The unfortunate reality is that when you buy animal products, you are hurting someone else, and that isn't analogous to ethical non-monogamy.
How does one truly live a life of not having any animal products in their day-to-day life? And when I'm talking about extreme causes here, I'm talking, you have a laptop, you have a phone, right? You have a TV, you have headphones, the oven that you have, the refrigerator that you have, the glass in your frames, the vegan teacher. I don't know if you know this, how glass is made, and certain types of glasses use animal products. Like, if you go to the core of almost everything that we have, a lot of my materialistic items, there are animal products used in almost everything. And the way that I see it is that truly living a life of not using or consuming a singular animal product that is used in anything in your day-to-day life is practically impossible.
Of course, it's practically impossible to live without causing any animal suffering or contributing to any animal exploitation, just as it's practically impossible to live without causing any human suffering or contributing to human exploitation. Yes, there may be some animal byproduct in my oven, but it's still worthwhile and meaningful to do what I can to minimize animal suffering as much as possible. It seems strange for you to have this all or nothing thinking, when you literally complained about black and white thinking earlier in the video. Now, to be fair to Repzion, he has tried being vegan for a brief period of time in the past, and I do think that he believes veganism to be a worthwhile cause. And from what I've heard, he apparently has some pretty good takes on his channel. But yeah, this wasn't one of them. Ultimately, Repzion, if you want to live up to your own mantra,
as long as you're not hurting anybody personally, I don't really care what you do, what you ingest, you know?
then you should recognise that your choice to buy animal products stops being a mere personal one the moment it causes the suffering and death of an animal, who, like your pet dog, has an interest in avoiding such suffering. And while it may be impossible to live without causing some harm, you can make a difference to the number of animals being bred into a life of misery. And I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that that matters. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you to all of my patrons who are making these videos possible. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you very soon with another video.